The 60s are remembered as a time of rebellion, peace, and music, a generation rising up against the establishment. But what if the counterculture wasn't as organic as we think? What if it was a managed social experiment? The epicenter, Laurel Canyon, a secluded LA neighborhood where rock legends like The Doors, The Byrds, and Frank Zappa all lived within blocks of each other. The sheer concentration of talent in one place seems almost too perfect. Laurel Canyon became a symbol of communal living, drug experimentation, and anti-mainstream values. But beneath the surface, odd coincidences and establishment connections emerge. Many key players had ties to the military and intelligence communities. Was this a spontaneous eruption of genius, or a pre-planned performance? The sudden, fully formed counterculture, with its own music, fashion, and philosophy, suggests careful coordination. Laurel Canyon was the incubator. The music was the message. But who was writing the script? The answers may lie in the shadows of the military-industrial complex. The story of Laurel Canyon is about secrets hidden in plain sight. Was the revolution real, or was it staged? The so-called rebels of Laurel Canyon often had deep roots in the establishment. Jim Morrison's father was Admiral Morrison, commander during the Gulf of Tonkin incident that escalated the Vietnam War. Frank Zappa's father worked in chemical warfare for the government. Stephen Stills and David Crosby were both military brats. These aren't isolated cases. They form a pattern. The architects of anti-war anthems grew up inside the military machine. Were they true rebels or uniquely positioned for a psychological operation? Their backgrounds gave them credibility with youth, but also potential ties to the system. The phenomenon of the military brat rock star suggests the counterculture was not what it appeared. The contradiction at the heart of the 60s rock scene is impossible to ignore. The anti-establishment movement may have been shaped by the very establishment it claimed to oppose. Just miles from Laurel Canyon was Lookout Mountain Air Force Station, a top-secret film studio for the U.S. Air Force. From 1947 to 1969, it produced propaganda and psychological warfare materials. Its proximity to the music scene is suspicious. Lookout Mountain operated at the same time Laurel Canyon exploded with creativity. The facility produced thousands of classified films, specializing in psychological operations. They were experts in media manipulation, shaping public perception. Could the Laurel Canyon scene have been a civilian extension of these psyops? Musicians may have been unwitting pawns, or willing participants in a grand experiment. The revolution was televised, and the script may have been written by the establishment. The connection between art and covert influence is hard to dismiss. LSD was central to the 60s counterculture, but its spread was no accident. The drug's history is tied to the CIA's MKUltra mind control program. Ken Kesey, a psychedelic icon, was first introduced to LSD as a CIA test subject. He and the Merry Pranksters popularized acid through the legendary acid tests. The Grateful Dead house band for these events were supplied by Owsley Stanley, whose massive LSD production raises questions. Was the flood of LSD into the counterculture facilitated by intelligence agencies? The theory pacify a generation, redirecting political energy into introspection and escapism. Instead of protest, youth were encouraged to turn on, tune in, drop out. The revolution wasn't crushed, it was sedated. The very tool of liberation may have been a tool of control. The psychedelic movement's roots are far more tangled than they seem. While the CIA promoted a pacified counterculture, the FBI ran COINTELPRO to disrupt political movements. They targeted groups like the Black Panthers and anti-war activists using surveillance and psychological warfare. Even rock musicians like John Lennon were targeted. The government's strategy suppressed genuine threats, promote less political, more self-indulgent artists. Laurel Canyon's focus on drugs and introspection fit this mold. Adding to the intrigue, many musicians were involved in occult practices. Aleister Crowley's influence loomed large, and some artists had ties to cults and secret societies. The intersection of rock, intelligence, and the occult paints a disturbing picture. The counterculture may have been shaped by hidden agendas, social control, manipulation, and dark philosophies. The story of 60s rock is not just rebellion, but a labyrinth of secrets. The music was beautiful, but the machinery behind it was anything but. The real revolution may have been an illusion.